Cleopatra was the last of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Macedonian Greek family that governed Egypt after its conquest by Alexander the Great. She ruled jointly in Alexandria with her brother, to whom she was also married until he had her exiled.
Yo soy una hija del Inti Sol, de la Pachamama y del Inti Sol. Yo soy hermana del pueblo Coya, del Inti hermano y de la Aymara, de la Aymara, la Aymara. Yo misma me guío a la libertad.
Cleopatra was born around 69 BCE. Her father Ptolemy XII died when she was 18, leaving Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII as co-regents. As was the custom of the time, Cleopatra married her brother, and together they ruled Egypt. However, Ptolemy soon had Cleopatra exiled, leaving him in sole charge. In 48 BCE, the Roman Empire was embroiled in a civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey. When Pompey fled to Alexandria, the capital of Egypt, he was murdered on the orders of Ptolemy. Ptolemy had hoped to curry favor with Caesar, but when Caesar arrived in Alexandria, he was enraged at the murder of a Roman consul by a foreign subject. Taking advantage of Caesar's displeasure with Ptolemy, Cleopatra sneaked into Caesar's rooms and successfully endeared herself to Julius Caesar. With Caesar's military strength and support siding with Cleopatra, her brother Ptolemy was overthrown and killed. It enabled Cleopatra to be reinstalled as queen. In 47 BCE, Cleopatra gave birth to Caesarion, which means Little Caesar, though Caesar never publicly declared him to be his son. For a time, Cleopatra's reign brought relative stability to the region, bringing a degree of peace and prosperity to a country bankrupt by civil war. Although she was brought up to speak Greek like her family, she also made an effort to learn Egyptian and later spoke only in the native tongue of her subjects. In 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated, and this led to a growing power struggle between Mark Anthony and Caesar's adopted son Octavian. Despite being married to Octavian's sister, Mark Anthony began a relationship with Cleopatra. Together, Cleopatra and Mark Anthony had 3 children. In his pursuit of power, Octavian claimed that Mark Anthony would give away Rome to this Egyptian queen, who seemed to have Mark Anthony under her spell. It was also seen as a family insult that Mark Anthony was married to his sister but, at the same time, having an affair with Cleopatra. The antagonism between Mark Anthony and Octavius grew into civil war, and in 31 BCE, Cleopatra joined her Egyptian forces with the Roman forces of Mark Anthony and fought Octavian's forces on the west coast of Greece. Cleopatra and Mark Anthony were decisively beaten in battle and scarcely escaped back to Egypt. However, Octavian's forces pursued the couple and captured Alexandria. With no chance of escape, Mark Anthony and Cleopatra both took their own lives, committing suicide on the 12th of August 30 BCE. In one account of her death, Cleopatra committed suicide by persuading a cobra to bite her on the breast. Octavian later had their son Caesarion strangled, ending the Cleopatra dynasty. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, and Cleopatra proved to be the last of the Egyptian pharaohs. Many contemporary sources spoke of the mystique of Cleopatra's beauty and allure. Her image was put on Egyptian coins, which was very rare for the historical period. Plutarch, writing in the life of Mark Antony, wrote,
"For as they say, it was not because her Cleopatra's beauty in itself was so striking that it stunned the onlooker, but the inescapable impression produced by daily contact with her. The attractiveness in the persuasiveness of her talk and the character that surrounded her conversation was stimulating. It was a pleasure to hear the sound of her voice, and she tuned her tongue like a many-stringed instrument expertly to whatever language she chose."
Our next video will be about the eternal recurrence theory. Is time really in a circular form? Stay tuned. Sources of all the information said in this video are given in the description section. Please comment to make corrections or additions. If you still have not subscribed, you can subscribe and like the video. Take care yourself. Ciao ciao.